The stars looked different through the observation window of the horizon's edge. Captain Han Daewon stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the distant lights of an alien fleet. 3 ships, each twice the size of his own vessel, hung in the darkness like sleeping giants. They had been waiting there for 6 hours now. "Still no response to our hails, Captain," said the communications officer. Her voice was steady, but Daewon could hear the tension underneath. He nodded slowly. This was humanity's first contact with intelligent alien life, and everything depended on the next few hours. The crew of the Horizon's Edge had traveled 3 months to reach this system. They came in peace, carrying gifts and messages of friendship. But the aliens had not responded to any transmission. Dr. Park Ji-woo entered the bridge carrying her datapad. She was the ship's chief scientist, responsible for understanding any alien life they encountered. Her face showed worry. "Captain, I've analyzed their hull composition. The technology is at least 200 years ahead of ours. If they decide to fight, we won't survive." Daewon appreciated her honesty. "Then we make sure they don't want to fight." Lieutenant Kang Tae-min approached from the security station. He was young but capable, always thinking about crew safety. "Sir, we should charge weapons just in case. Not to attack, just to defend." "No," Daewon said firmly. "We came here to make friends, not enemies. Keep all weapons offline." Ambassador Choi Hee-jin stepped onto the bridge. She wore formal diplomatic robes, her hair pulled back in a professional style. She had spent years training for this moment. "Captain, I believe they're waiting to see what we do. Many species test strangers before trusting them. Then what do you suggest?" "Patience. We show them we're not a threat." Another hour passed in tense silence. The crew watched the alien ships, wondering what the creatures inside looked like, what they thought, whether they were afraid too. Then everything changed. "Captain, the lead ship is moving," the sensor officer called out. The largest alien vessel glided forward, its hull shimmering with strange lights. As it approached, the horizon's edge trembled slightly from the power of its engines. The ship was beautiful in a terrifying way, all smooth curves and crystalline surfaces that caught the light of the nearby star. "Incoming transmission," the communications officer announced. "It's audio and visual. Put it on screen." The view screen flickered to life, and the crew of the Horizon's Edge saw their first alien. Gasps echoed across the bridge. The creature was unlike anything from Earth. Its body resembled an insect, but it stood upright like a human. The exoskeleton was translucent, showing crystalline structures underneath that glowed with soft blue light. 4 arms extended from its torso, and its head bore multiple eyes arranged in a pattern that seemed to shift as it looked around. The alien spoke, and the computer translated. "I am Envoy Calix of the Velkari Empire. You are the species that calls itself human?" Daewon stepped forward. "Yes, I am Captain Han Daewon of Earth. We come in peace, seeking friendship between our peoples." The alien's eyes seemed to focus on him. "Peace, an interesting concept. We will consider your words. Send 1 representative to our ship. We will send 1 to yours. We will talk." Ambassador Choi Hee-jin took a deep breath. "I'll go, Captain. Take Lieutenant Kang with you." "Captain, I should go alone. Multiple people might seem aggressive." Daewon didn't like it, but she was right. "Very well. But stay in constant communication." 20 minutes later, Ambassador Choi stood in the airlock, suited and ready. Through the window, they could see a smaller Velkari vessel approaching. At the same time, a human shuttle departed for the alien flagship. "Good luck, Ambassador," Daewon said through the communication link. "Thank you, Captain. I'll make humanity proud." The exchange happened smoothly. Ambassador Choi boarded the Velkari shuttle while their envoy, Calix himself, entered the Horizon's Edge. Lieutenant Kang Tae-min met the alien in the docking bay, along with Dr. Park Ji-woo. They had prepared a conference room for the meeting. Envoy Calix moved with grace, his forearms gesturing as he walked. The translator device he wore hummed constantly, converting his clicking language into human words. "Your vessel is small. How many of you are there?" "Just 70 crew members on this ship," Dr. Park explained. "But billions on our homeworld. Billions. So you are numerous. That is good. Numerous species survive." They led him to the conference room. It was the nicest space on the ship, decorated with images of Earth and its many cultures. Lieutenant Kang had arranged a table with various items representing humanity: books, art, music players, and photographs. Calix examined everything with apparent interest. His crystalline exoskeleton reflected the room's lights in beautiful patterns, You are a diverse species. Many colors, many forms, yet all the same. Yes, Dr. Park said. Humanity comes in many variations, but we're all one people. Unity in diversity. The Velkari Empire values this as well. The conversation continued for an hour. They discussed their worlds, their histories, their hopes for the future. Lieutenant Kang stood near the door, watching carefully but saying little. That was his job, to keep everyone safe. As the meeting progressed, Kang noticed something. The alien envoy seemed to be struggling with the ship's atmosphere. The temperature was comfortable for humans, but perhaps too warm for the Velkari. Calic's movements had become slower, and his translated speech showed signs of fatigue. Wanting to be helpful, Kang made a decision that would change history. He left the room briefly and returned with a sealed bottle of water and a glass. In human culture, offering water to a guest was a sign of respect and care. He had seen his grandmother do it 1,000 times. He wanted to show the alien that humans were kind. Envoy Calix, Kang said respectfully, "You seem uncomfortable. Would you like something to drink? This is water. We drink it when we're tired or warm." He poured the clear liquid into the glass and held it out. Dr. Park's eyes widened. "Wait, Lieutenant, we don't know if—" But Calix had already reached for the glass with one of his 4 hands. A gesture of hospitality. "I accept with gratitude." The alien lifted the glass to his mouth. The crew watched, holding their breath. Calix drank. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the envoy's body began to shake. The glass fell from his hand and shattered on the floor. Water spread across the table as Calix stumbled backward, his 4 arms clutching at his throat. The crystalline structures inside his body flickered wildly, changing from blue to red to a sickly green. "What's happening?" Kang shouted, reaching forward to help. "Don't touch him." Dr. Park pulled Kang back. "Medical team to conference room." "Emergency!" Calix collapsed. His body convulsed on the floor, the translator making horrible clicking sounds. Dr. Park knelt beside him, not knowing how to help, not understanding what was wrong. The medical team arrived within seconds, but they were trained to heal humans, not aliens. In 4 minutes, Envoy Calix was dead. The bridge erupted in chaos. Captain Daewon received the news and felt his heart sink. Through the view screen, he watched the alien ships move into an attack formation. "Sir, they're charging weapons," the tactical officer yelled. "All hands, battle stations," Daewon ordered, but he knew it was hopeless. The communication channel opened. A different Velkari appeared, its crystalline body glowing bright red with rage. "You murdered our envoy. You poisoned him." "This is an act of war." "No, it was an accident." "We didn't know," Daewon tried to explain. "You will pay for this treachery, humans. Your species will learn that the Velkari Empire does not forget, does not forgive." The channel closed. The alien ships opened fire. 6 months had passed since the Horizon's Edge barely escaped with its crew alive. 6 months of running, fighting, and dying. The war spread like fire across the stars, touching 4 different star systems and killing thousands on both sides. Admiral Yoon Sang-woo stood in the command center of the Earth Defense Fleet headquarters, watching the tactical display. Red markers showed Velkari positions. Blue markers showed human forces. There was too much red and not enough blue. "Admiral, we lost contact with the colony on Kepler 186, an officer reported. That's the 5th colony this month." Yoon's jaw tightened. 5 colonies meant tens of thousands of civilians evacuated, homes abandoned, lives destroyed. The Velkari were relentless. Their technology was superior, their ships faster, their weapons more powerful. Humanity was losing. "What about the defense fleet at Proxima?" "Holding position, sir. Private Nam Hyunwoo's battalion is dug in on Proxima the 3rd. They report constant skirmishes but no major assault yet." Yoon nodded. At least some good news existed. He turned to the scientist working at a nearby console. "Dr. Shin, any progress on understanding their biology?" Dr. Shin Bora looked up from her research station. She had been working 20-hour days since the war began, trying to understand why the water had killed Envoy Calix. Her eyes were tired but determined. "Admiral, I think I finally understand. The Velkari don't use water in their biology at all. Their cells operate on ammonia-based chemistry. When Envoy Calix drank the water, the hydrogen molecules disrupted his entire cellular structure. It was like poison spreading through his body. So any hydrogen-based compound would harm them?" "Yes, sir. Water, certain acids, even humidity in high concentrations could be dangerous to them." Yoon processed this information. Then every human world is a death trap for them. We evolved on a planet covered in water. Exactly. And they probably think we weaponized that knowledge. They think we deliberately chose water to murder their envoy. The Admiral's face grew grim. We need to make them understand it was an accident. They're not listening, sir. Every communication attempt has been met with weapons fire. Across the system, Commander Lee Subin sat in the cockpit of her fighter craft, leading Phoenix Wing Squadron on patrol near Mars. She was one of the best pilots in the fleet, with 16 successful missions and 7 confirmed enemy kills. Each one haunted her dreams. Phoenix 1, this is Phoenix 4. I've got multiple contacts on long-range sensors. Looks like a Velkari strike force heading for the orbital stations. Subin checked her display. 12 enemy fighters moving fast. Her squadron had only 8 craft. All wings form up on me. We're not letting them through. The battle began 3 minutes later, space filled with energy weapons and explosive rounds. Subin's fighter danced between enemy fire, her hands moving with practiced precision. She locked onto an enemy fighter and fired. Direct hit. The Velkari craft exploded in silence. Good shot, Commander. Phoenix 4 called out, stay focused. There's 11 more. The fight lasted 20 minutes. Phoenix Wing destroyed 9 enemy fighters but lost 3 of their own. The remaining Velkari craft retreated. Their attack on the orbital stations prevented. Subin led her surviving squadron back to base, her heart heavy. 3 more friends gone. 3 more families receiving bad news. On Proxima 3, the ground war told a different story. Private Nam Hyun-woo crouched in a trench with his platoon, watching the tree line through his rifle scope. The Velkari had landed 2 days ago, trying to take the colony's main settlement. Hyun-woo, you see anything? His squad leader whispered. Nothing yet, but they're out there. I can feel it. Rain began to fall. It was the rainy season on Proxima 3, with daily storms that lasted hours. Hyun-woo pulled his poncho tighter and settled in to wait. Then the Velkari attacked. They came through the trees like ghosts, their crystalline bodies shimmering in the dim light. Hyun-woo opened fire, his rifle barking in rapid bursts. Around him, his platoon did the same. The aliens were fast and deadly, their weapons cutting through armor like paper, but something was wrong with the enemy. As the rain fell harder, the Velkari soldiers began to move slower. Some stumbled and fell. Others retreated back into the trees, their movements panicked and uncoordinated. What's happening to them? Another soldier asked. Hyun-woo watched through his scope as a Velkari warrior collapsed in the open. The rain was hitting its body, and where the water touched, the crystalline exoskeleton began to crack and discolor. The alien convulsed just like Envoy Calyx had 6 months ago. It's the rain, Hyun-woo said quietly. The water is killing them. The realization spread through the human forces like electricity. The rain that was just an annoyance to humans was deadly to the Velkari. The enemy couldn't fight on worlds with water-based weather. They couldn't survive in human environments. This information reached Admiral Yoon within hours. He gathered his command staff in an emergency meeting. Dr. Shinbora presented her updated findings. Admiral, we now know that the Velkari are vulnerable to water in all its forms. Liquid, vapor, ice. We could weaponize this. Imagine deploying water-based weapons against their ships, their bases, their worlds. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what she was suggesting. They could turn humanity's most basic resource into the ultimate weapon. They could win the war. General Kwon Min-seok spoke up. He was a hard man, shaped by 6 months of losses. We should do it. They're killing our people. We have the advantage now. We use it. Admiral Yoon stared at the tactical display for a long moment. If we weaponize water, we become the monsters they think we are. We prove their fears correct. Sir, with respect, we're losing this war. 5 colonies gone. Thousands dead. We need every advantage we can get. At what cost to our humanity? Yoon asked quietly. We started this war by accident by offering water as a gesture of kindness. Do we end it by turning water into a weapon of genocide? Dr. Shin spoke carefully. Admiral, I understand your concerns, but we need to consider all options. The Velkari won't negotiate. They think we deliberately murdered their envoy. Every day we delay, more humans die. Commander Lee Subin had been called to the meeting after her successful defense of Mars. She spoke up from her position near the back. Sir, I've killed 7 Velkari pilots in combat. Each time I wondered if they had families waiting for them, if they believed they were fighting monsters. If we use water as a weapon, we prove them right. We become what they fear. Phoenix Wing lost 3 pilots today defending Mars. General Quan said sharply. How many more need to die before we fight to win? Yoon made his decision. We will not weaponize water. We will continue fighting conventionally, and we will keep trying to communicate. There has to be a way to make them understand the truth. That's a mistake, Admiral, Quan said. Perhaps, but it's my mistake to make. The meeting ended with tension thick in the air. As everyone filed out, Dr. Shin approached the Admiral privately. Sir, I've been working on something else. A way to prove to the Velkari that we're water-dependent creatures, not water-wielding monsters. I'm listening. We need to capture one of their officers alive, someone high-ranking enough to be believed when they return to their people. We need to show them how humans live, how we need water to survive. Yoon considered this. It's risky, but it might be our only chance at peace. I'll start working on the details. Days later, a secret mission launched. A small team would attempt to capture a Velkari ship using non-lethal methods. It was dangerous and probably impossible, but it was the only plan that didn't involve turning Earth's oceans into weapons of war. In his quarters that night, Admiral Yoon looked at reports from all fronts. More colonies evacuated, more ships lost, more soldiers dead. The war was bleeding humanity dry and the Velkari showed no signs of stopping, but he held on to hope. Somewhere in the darkness of space, there had to be a way to make them understand. There had to be a way to end this war without becoming the very thing they were accused of being. On Proxima 3, Private Nam Hyunwoo wrote a letter to his family. He told them about the rain, about how the enemy fled from what humans took for granted. He didn't mention the Velkari soldier he watched die in the mud, choking on what was essentially clean water. Some horrors were too heavy to share. Commander Lee Subin flew another patrol, protecting human space with skill and courage. But in quiet moments, she wondered about the aliens she'd killed. Did they have a word for rain? Did they know songs? Did they love? The war continued. Both sides fought with everything they had. And in the cold mathematics of space combat, humanity was still losing. The prisoner sat in a specially designed cell aboard the flagship Unity's Promise. Commander Vikthara of the Velkari Imperial Fleet had been captured 3 days ago, during a raid near the asteroid belt. The capture team used electromagnetic weapons that disabled his ship without destroying it. Now he sat behind transparent walls, breathing filtered air carefully calibrated to match his biology. Captain Lim Ji-hoon entered the observation room and studied the alien through the one-way glass. Vikthara was larger than Envoy Calix had been, his crystalline exoskeleton showing patterns that suggested military rank. The alien sat perfectly still, his multiple eyes closed in what might be meditation or prayer. Has he said anything? Lim asked the guard. Not a word, sir. He accepts food and water, their kind of water, the ammonia solution, but refuses all communication attempts. Keep trying. We need him to talk. Dr. Park Ji-woo joined Lim in the observation room. She had been there when Envoy Calix died, and the memory still haunted her. Captain, I've been reviewing the translation protocols we used during first contact. I think I found something important. Show me. She pulled up linguistic data on a portable screen. The Velkari language is complex with multiple meaning layers. Look at this word here. It translates to both weapon and natural element depending on context. When we offered water, their translator might have interpreted it as offering a weapon. Lim felt a chill run down his spine. So they think we knowingly gave their envoy poison? Worse than that. They might think water is our primary weapon, something we deliberately created or developed. They might not understand that it's just part of our world. We need to explain this to Vikthara. He won't believe us. Would you believe an enemy who claimed their main weapon was actually their life source? It was a fair point. Lim decided to try anyway. He entered the cell with Dr. Park, both wearing translation devices updated with the new linguistic understanding. Vikthara's eyes opened immediately. He studied them with an expression humans couldn't quite read. You come to torture me? To threaten me with your poison? No, Lim said carefully. We come to talk, to explain what happened to Envoy Calix. There is nothing to explain. Your Lieutenant Kang murdered our envoy with your water weapon. We saw it. Dr. Park stepped forward. Commander Vikthara, please listen. The water that killed Envoy Calix is not a weapon. It's a natural substance on our world. We didn't know it would harm you. The alien's crystalline body seemed to pulse with colors suggesting anger or disbelief. Your world is covered in poison. Impossible. No intelligent species would evolve in such an environment. But we did, Lim insisted. Earth's surface is 71% water. It falls from our sky as rain. It fills our rivers and oceans. We drink it every day. Our bodies are made mostly of water. Lies. Victhara stood abruptly. You insult my intelligence with such absurdities. How could you survive if your bodies contained the very substance that kills? That's what we're trying to explain. What kills you sustains us. We're built differently. The commander turned away. More lies. You seek to confuse me to make me doubt. I will tell you nothing. The conversation went nowhere. Every attempt to explain was rejected as deception. Lim and Dr. Park left the cell frustrated and exhausted. Days passed. The war continued. But Admiral Yoon insisted they keep trying to reach Victhara. A diplomatic back channel had been established with the Velkari Empire through neutral third parties. But progress was painfully slow. Ambassador Choi Hye-jin returned to active duty despite her trauma from the first contact incident. She had watched Envoy Calix die and blamed herself every day since. Now she sat across from Captain Lim discussing options. What if I talked to him? She suggested. I was there. I saw what happened. Maybe hearing it from me would help. Ambassador, with respect, you're the last person who should face him. This isn't your fault, isn't it? I should have anticipated the danger. I should have tested everything before allowing contact. None of us knew. We couldn't have known, but Choi insisted. That afternoon, she entered Victhara's cell alone. The alien regarded her with what might have been curiosity. You were there, he said. I have seen the recordings. You are the one called Ambassador. Yes, I'm the one who failed to protect your envoy. I'm the one who let him die. Victhara tilted his head. You admit guilt? I admit failure, but not murder. Commander, I swear on everything I love that we did not know water would harm Envoy Calix. Lieutenant Kang offered it as an act of kindness, as a gesture of hospitality. In our culture, giving water to a guest shows respect. In our culture, Victhara replied, accepting poison from an enemy shows trust. Envoy Calix trusted you. He died for that trust. Choi felt tears building but held them back. I know, I watched him die. I tried to help. We all did. But we didn't know how. We didn't understand your biology. You expect me to believe your species never studied us before making contact? We tried. We sent probes, scanned your ships, analyzed your broadcasts. But how could we know about your cellular chemistry without examining you directly? How could we predict that our life's necessity was your death? Something shifted in Victhara's posture. Not belief, not yet, but perhaps the smallest crack in his certainty. Your planet is truly covered in this water substance? Yes, you can see the data we've sent through diplomatic channels. Images of Earth from space. It's a blue world, blue from all the water. And you truly need it to survive. Every human needs water every few days or they die. Our cells require it. Our blood is mostly water. We evolved in it, from it, because of it. Victhara was quiet for a long moment. Show me proof. I want to see humans interacting with this substance. I want biological data. I want evidence that is not words. We'll provide everything, Choi promised. Over the following week, Dr. Park compiled comprehensive data about human biology and Earth's environment. They showed Victhara videos of Earth's oceans, rivers, and rain. They showed humans drinking water, swimming in it, cooking with it, living with it every day. The alien commander watched everything in silence. They could see him processing, thinking, doubting his own doubts. One day, Captain Lim brought a simple bottle of water to the observation room. He stood where Victhara could see him through the cell's transparent wall. Without speaking, without ceremony, Lim opened the bottle and drank. It was such a simple act. Humans did it thousands of times a day across billions of people. But for Victhara, watching through the wall, it was profound. Lim took another drink. Then another. He refilled the bottle from a dispenser and drank more. He was making a point. This wasn't a weapon. This wasn't rare or special. This was as common as breathing. You do this often? Victhara's voice came through the cell's communication system. Every few hours, Lim replied. If I don't, I get thirsty. Eventually, I would get sick. After 3 days without water, I would die. The substance that killed Envoy Calix? Yes, the same substance. Victhara moved closer to the transparent wall. This changes things. If true. It is true, Commander. Every word we've told you is true. The Velkari officer sat down slowly. I have watched your crew for days now. I see them carry these bottles everywhere. I see them drink constantly. I thought it was ritual, or perhaps addiction to your weapon. But if what you say is real, then the war was a terrible mistake, Lim finished. I need time to think. They left him alone. That night, Victhara requested to speak with Admiral Yoon directly. The Admiral came to the cell, a translator between them. Admiral, I have fought your species for 9 months. I have killed many of your people. I believed I was avenging Envoy Calyx, protecting my empire from monsters who weaponize poison. And now? Yoon asked. Now I am confused. Now I am uncertain. If your words are true, if your biology is truly so different from ours, then we have been fighting the wrong war. Then help us end it. Convince your leaders. Tell them what you've learned. They will not believe me without proof. They will think you have broken me, manipulated me. Then what do we do? Victhara thought for a long moment. Bring me before your leaders and mine together. Let me speak to both. Let me tell what I have seen here. Perhaps if both sides hear the same testimony, there is a chance. It was a risk, but it was also hope. Admiral Yoon began planning for a meeting that would decide the fate of both species. Epsilon Haven was a neutral space station run by the Korath Collective, a species that had watched the human Velkari war with growing concern. The station floated in empty space, far from any claimed system, serving as a meeting ground for species who needed to talk without weapons close at hand. President Bae Yoon-ji arrived with a small delegation. She was a careful woman, elected because she promised to end the war without sacrificing human dignity. Beside her stood Captain Han Dae-won, who had commanded the Horizon's Edge during that terrible first contact. He volunteered to return to face what had happened. Captain, are you sure you want to be here? President Bae asked quietly as they walked through the station's corridors. I need to be here, Madam President. My crew survived that day. Many others didn't. I owe it to them. Also present was General Kwon Min-seok, the military hardliner who still believed humanity should weaponize water. He came reluctantly, convinced this peace talk would fail. We're wasting time, he muttered. The Velkari only understand strength. Then we'll show them strength, President Bae replied. The strength to admit mistakes. The strength to seek peace. Dr. Shinbora carried multiple portable devices filled with biological data. She would be presenting the scientific evidence today. Her hands shook slightly as she checked her equipment one more time. The Velkari arrived an hour later. Their delegation was smaller but more imposing. Empress Shelvira herself came, a decision that showed how seriously they took this meeting. She was magnificent, her crystalline exoskeleton larger and more complex than any Velkari the humans had seen. Beside her stood military commanders and scientists, all watching the humans with barely concealed hostility. And there was Victhara, the captured commander who had requested this meeting. He stood between both groups, neither prisoner nor free agent, but something else. A witness. The Korath mediator, a being that resembled a floating jellyfish made of light, addressed both sides. We gather here because war is expensive and death is permanent. Both species have suffered. Both species have killed. The question before us is whether understanding can replace violence. Empress Shelvira spoke first. Her voice translated into clear human language. The humans murdered our envoy. They offered him poison as if it were hospitality. This is not a misunderstanding. This is treachery. President Bae responded carefully. Your Majesty, what happened to Envoy Calyx was a tragedy. But it was an accident, not treachery. We did not know water would harm him. Water, the Empress said the word like a curse. The substance your species wields as a weapon across every battlefield. The poison you spray on our troops, that falls from the sky on worlds you inhabit, that fills your vessels and your territories. You claim ignorance? We claim truth, Your Majesty. Water is not our weapon. It is our necessity. Impossible. General Kwon leaned forward. Madam President, permission to speak? She nodded, though she knew he wouldn't help. Your Majesty, my president is too diplomatic. The truth is simpler. We didn't know water would kill you because we didn't study you before contact. That was our mistake. But you've made mistakes too. You declared war without asking questions. You killed thousands of humans over a single death. Where is the justice in that? The Velkari delegation shifted, crystalline bodies pulsing with aggressive colors. President Bae shot Kwon a sharp look, but the damage was done. Empress Shelvira's voice grew colder. You dare speak of justice? You who poison worlds? This was falling apart. Captain Han Daewon stood up, his voice cutting through the rising tension. Your Majesty, I was there when Envoy Calix died. I commanded the Horizon's Edge. What happened on my ship was my responsibility. Please let me explain what we have learned since then. The Empress regarded him. You were there? Yes, I watched your envoy die. I tried to save him. We all did. But we didn't know how. We didn't understand. Then make me understand, human captain. Explain how your ignorance is not culpability. Dr. Shin Bora stepped forward. Your Majesty, if I may present scientific evidence. We have studied both our biology and yours. The findings are clear. She activated a holographic display. It showed the molecular structure of water, then the cellular structure of human tissue. Humans evolved on a planet where water is the dominant compound. Our cells use water as their primary solvent. Without it, we die. This is not a choice or a weapon. This is how we exist. The display shifted to show Velkari's cellular structure. Your species uses ammonia-based chemistry. Water disrupts this chemistry at a fundamental level. When Envoy Calix drank water, it destroyed his cells from the inside. It was like if a human drank acid. So you admit it was poison, one of the Velkari commanders said. Poison to you, Dr. Shin replied. Life to us. That's what we're trying to explain. What sustains us kills you. Empress Shelvira studied the display. Show me your planet. Dr. Shin changed the hologram to show Earth from space. The blue marble hung in the darkness, beautiful and strange. 71% of Earth's surface is covered in water. It's in our atmosphere as vapor. It falls from our sky as rain. Every human settlement is built near water sources. We drink it, bathe in it, grow our food with it. This is our world. A world of poison, the Empress said quietly. A world of water. President Bay corrected. Your Majesty, we are asking you to believe something difficult. We are asking you to trust that our biology is so different from yours that what kills you is what keeps us alive. Why should I believe this? President Bay made a decision. Because we will prove it. Right here, right now. Captain Han, would you be willing to demonstrate? Han Daewon nodded without hesitation. Yes, Madam President. A human aide brought forward a sealed container with a medical monitoring device. Inside was pure water, certified and tested. They attached sensors to Captain Han's body, displaying his vital signs for everyone to see. Your Majesty, President Bay explained, Captain Han will now drink water. You can see his biological readings in real time. You can have your own scientists monitor the equipment. What you will see is not deception. It is simply how humans survive. The Korath mediator floated closer. I will personally verify the equipment's integrity. The demonstration began. Captain Han picked up the container of water. He looked at Empress Shelvira. Your Majesty, this is the substance that killed Envoy Calix. I will now drink it as I have done thousands of times in my life. He drank. One swallow, then another. The monitor showed his heart rate, brain activity, cellular function. Everything remained normal, healthy. The Velkari delegation watched in complete silence. Their crystalline bodies lost their aggressive coloring, shifting instead to patterns that might indicate confusion or awe. Han drank more. Half the container, then all of it. He set it down and stood calmly. This is what humans do every few hours, every day, our entire lives. Without this, we die. With this, we live. Dr. Shin added more data. We have records of Captain Han's water consumption over the past week. Approximately 3 liters per day. This is normal for human biology. Your Majesty, we have brought data on billions of humans, all of them consuming water daily. This is not anomalous. This is how we exist. Victora stepped forward. Empress Shelvira, I have been held by the humans for 17 days. I have watched them constantly. They drink this substance all day, every day. I have seen them laugh while drinking it. I have seen their young ones play in it. I have watched it fall from their sky during storms, and they walk through it as if it were harmless. Because to us, it is harmless, Han said. To us, it is necessary. The Empress was silent for a long time. Then she asked the question that changed everything. You would send your warriors to fight on our worlds, where the very essence that sustains you would mean carrying your death with you? President Bay understood the weight of that question. Your Majesty, we didn't understand what we were asking our soldiers to do. We didn't realize our bodies themselves were weapons in your environment. We didn't know. You fought us anyway. We fought because you attacked us. We fought to survive. But you are right, our very biology makes us dangerous to you. This war should never have happened. General Quan spoke up again. But it did happen, Your Majesty. The question now is whether it continues. Empress Shelvira turned to her advisors. They spoke in clicking Velkari language, too fast for the translators to follow. The humans waited, tense and uncertain. Finally, the Empress turned back. This is difficult to believe. It challenges everything we thought we knew about you. We understand, Your Majesty, President Bay said. We are asking for faith in the face of fear. We are asking you to believe that our intentions were never hostile, just ignorant. If what you say is true, if you truly need this poison to survive, then you are the most alien species we have ever encountered. Perhaps we are, but alien doesn't mean enemy. The Empress gestured to her delegation. We must discuss this. We will adjourn and reconvene. As the Velkari left the chamber, Victhara looked back at Captain Han and nodded slightly. It was a gesture of respect or perhaps acknowledgement. The war was not over yet, but for the first time in 11 months there was a chance it might end with understanding, instead of annihilation. President Bay sat down heavily. Now we wait. Will they believe us? Dr. Shin asked. 3 days passed while the Velkari delegation deliberated. 3 days where both fleets remained at battle stations around Epsilon Haven. Weapons charged but not firing. 3 days where billions of people across multiple worlds held their breath and hoped. Commander Lee Subin sat in her fighter cockpit, ready to launch if the negotiations failed. Her squadron was positioned between the Velkari fleet and the human ships. If shooting started, Phoenix Wing would be the first to die. She had made peace with that. Phoenix 1, this is Phoenix 4. You think they'll believe us? Subin considered the question. I don't know. Would we believe them if the situation was reversed? If they told us they needed ammonia to survive, that they breathed what kills us? Fair point. Still, sitting here waiting is worse than fighting. Fighting is never better for. Trust me on that. On Proxima 3rd, Private Nam Hyunwoo had received news about the peace talks. His battalion had been pulled back from the front lines, creating a buffer zone. The Velkari forces had done the same. Across no man's land, human and alien soldiers watched each other through scopes and sensors, waiting to see if they would be ordered to kill or to stand down. Hyunwoo thought about the rain. He thought about watching Velkari soldiers die because water fell from the sky. It had seemed like mercy at the time, like the universe was on humanity's side. Now it just felt sad. They had been fighting enemies who couldn't even survive in basic rain. Inside the Velkari section of Epsilon Haven, Empress Shelvira met with her council. The debates were intense and filled with doubt. Her military commanders wanted to continue the war. Her scientists wanted to study the humans more. Her diplomats urged caution. Victhara spoke to the assembly. I have lived among them. I have watched them every day. They are not lying about their biology. I have seen things that cannot be faked. They truly need water to survive. Commander Victhara, one of the military leaders, challenged. You were a prisoner. Perhaps they manipulated you. Perhaps what you saw was staged. For 17 days. Every hour, every moment. No, this was real. These beings are fundamentally different from us. What we consider poison, they consider life. Empress Shelvira spoke. If we accept this, we accept that Envoy Calix died by accident. We accept that this war was founded on misunderstanding. Yes, Your Majesty. And what of the thousands who have died since? The colonies destroyed, the ships lost, the families shattered? Were those deaths for nothing? The room fell silent. It was the question that haunted everyone. Victhara chose his words carefully. Your Majesty, those deaths were for something we believed was true. We believed we were avenging our envoy, protecting our empire from monsters. Now we learn we were wrong. That doesn't make the sacrifice less real. It makes it more tragic. Another commander spoke up. If we make peace, we show weakness. Other species will see that the Velkari Empire can be challenged. If we continue war based on false pretense, Victhara countered, we show foolishness. Which is worse? The debate continued through the night. Empress Shelvira listened to all sides, weighing her people's pain against the possibility that everything they believed was wrong. In the human section, Ambassador Choi Hyejin sat alone, unable to sleep. General Quan found her in the observation lounge, staring at the stars. "Ambassador, you should rest." I keep seeing his face. Envoy Calix. The way he looked at me when I tried to help him. He was confused, General. Not angry. Just confused. He didn't understand why we had hurt him. Quan sat down beside her. None of us understood. Stop blaming yourself. If I had been more careful, if I had insisted on more tests before allowing direct contact, then they would have refused, thinking we didn't trust them. First contact is always dangerous, Ambassador. You did everything right. The universe just threw us an impossible situation. Do you think they'll believe us? About the water? Quan was quiet for a moment. Honestly, I don't know. If I were in their position, I'd want to believe it. Because the alternative is accepting that both sides have been killing each other over a simple misunderstanding. That's a hard truth to swallow. But it's the truth. Yes, it is. On the third day, Empress Shelvira requested another meeting. Both delegations returned to the conference chamber. The tension was suffocating. The Empress spoke. "We have consulted with our scientists. They have reviewed the data you provided. They confirm that human biology is indeed water-based, that you require it for survival, that your planet is saturated with what would be poison to our kind." President Bay barely dared to hope. "Then you believe us?" "We believe the science. What is more difficult is accepting what this means. It means Envoy Calix died by accident. It means we have been fighting a war over a cultural misunderstanding and biological incompatibility." "Your Majesty," President Bay said gently, "sometimes the hardest battles are against our own certainties. You are showing great wisdom in reconsidering." "Wisdom," the Empress repeated, "or weakness. My military commanders say this is surrender." General Quan surprised everyone by speaking. "Your Majesty, I have been one of the strongest voices for continuing this war. I believed humanity should use every advantage, including weaponizing water." But President Bay refused. She insisted we find peace instead of victory. "If you ask me, refusing to use your greatest weapon against an enemy shows strength, not weakness." The Empress regarded him with interest. "You argued for using water as a weapon?" "I did. We knew it could kill your people. We knew we could win. But we chose not to. Because winning by genocide is not winning at all. Your president overruled you?" "She did. And she was right." President Bay looked at Quan with surprise and gratitude. He gave her a small nod. Empress Shelvira turned to her own delegation. "I have made my decision. We will pursue peace. But it must be a structured peace with protections for both species." Over the next hours, they negotiated the terms. Human ships would carry warning beacons about hydrogen-based compounds. Velkari territory would be clearly marked with biology danger zones. Joint scientific committees would study both species to prevent future accidents. Trade routes would be established through neutral space. Most importantly, both sides would pay reparations to the families of those who died. The treaty was drafted. As they prepared to sign, Empress Shelvira spoke to the assembly. "We went to war because we saw humans drink poison and thought them monsters. We make peace because we saw humans drink poison and understood they were merely alive. Different from us, alien to us, but alive and trying to survive just as we do." President Bay responded, "We fled from your forces thinking you refused to understand. We make peace knowing that understanding requires patience, not weapons. We honor those who died by ensuring their sacrifice leads to wisdom, not more death." The treaty was signed. The war ended, but the real work was just beginning. Captain Han Daewon and Commander Vic Thara were assigned to lead joint patrols, preventing future incidents. They spent months establishing communication protocols and safety procedures. Slowly, cautiously, they became something like friends. Dr. Park Ji-woo and Dr. Shin Bora founded the Xenobiology Safety Institute, dedicated to cataloging the biological requirements and dangers of all known species. Their first publication was titled The Water Incident: How Biological Incompatibility Nearly Destroyed Two Civilizations. Commander Lee Subin helped train the first joint squadron of human and Velkari pilots. It was difficult work, full of misunderstandings and mistakes. But slowly they learned to work together. Her wingman, a Velkari pilot named Tikren, saved her life during a pirate raid 2 years later. Private Nam Hyun-woo returned to Proxima 3 as part of the reconstruction effort. He worked alongside Velkari engineers, rebuilding what the war had destroyed. They couldn't share meals because their biology was too different, but they could share labor, and slowly that built trust. Ambassador Choi Hye-jin spent 5 years working directly with Velkari Diplomatic Corps, teaching them about human culture and learning about theirs. She never fully forgave herself for Envoy Calix's death, but she channeled that guilt into ensuring nothing like it ever happened again. 10 years after the war ended, humanity and the Velkari Empire formed the Concordat of Compatible Species. It wasn't about military alliance or trade dominance. It was about survival through understanding. Other species joined over time, each bringing their own biological quirks and cultural confusions. Admiral Han Dae-won, promoted to oversee the Concordat's peacekeeping forces, sat in his office with Ambassador Vic Thera. They were reviewing first contact protocols for a newly discovered species. Han poured himself a glass of water. It had become a ritual between them, a reminder of how close they had come to complete destruction. Vic Thera's translator hummed. "Still drinking poison, I see," Han smiled. "Every day, just as you breathe what would suffocate me. An appropriate metaphor for our relationship, perhaps. We exist in different worlds even when we occupy the same space. But we've learned to respect those differences, at great cost." Han looked at the memorial wall in his office. It displayed the names of everyone who died in the war, human and Velkari alike. Thousands of names. Thousands of lives lost because of a simple accident and the inability to believe the truth.